Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. Today, we're going to dig into a really practical way to understand your own inner world, all based on some fascinating source material about self-awareness.
You ever feel that? That pull between what you want right now and what you know, deep down, is your real purpose? Well, the source we're looking at today has a name for that feeling. It calls it being in a state of transition. The alternative is stability, where you're really anchored in your higher identity. So let's unpack this map of our inner world.
And here's what's cool. The source material doesn't frame this as some kind of problem you have to fix. Nope. It sees it as a journey, one that we're all on. And like any good journey, it comes with a map to help us find our way.
So this higher identity, it's not some, mystical, far-out idea. The source says it's actually a super tangible state of being. It's that feeling when you stop getting tossed around by every little whim and desire, and you start steering your life from this place of deep inner alignment.
Okay, so how do you know where you are on this path? How can you tell? Well, the source gives us 3 different levels of clues. Think of them like signposts on the trail that tell us if we're in that wobbly transition phase or solid stability. Let's look at the first level. What's going on inside?
First up, you look inward. A huge sign of stability is that your emotions just settle down. It's not that you become a robot, but things don't throw you for a loop like they used to. Your true intention gets crystal clear, and that constant inner argument, it just kind of fades away. The source even talks about this growing sense of cosmic responsibility, this feeling that you're connected to something way bigger than just you.
All right, next up, you look at what you actually do. When you're stable in that higher identity, your behavior just lines up with your values. You're not forcing it, you're not faking it. Making decisions gets way easier because you're not torn all the time. And maybe the best part, that need to get approval from other people, it just evaporates. You don't need it anymore.
And then there's the third level, and this is where it gets really fascinating. We're talking about energetic shifts. The source describes this feeling of expansion, like your awareness isn't just stuck inside your head. You start to feel this luminous tranquility, which is more than just being calm. It's like a peace that glows. The world right in front of you becomes sharper, and ideas just flow to you, almost like little personal revelations. It's pretty wild.
So those signs are awesome guideposts, right? But what if you want to get like a really precise reading? Well, the source gives us an even more specific tool, kind of like an inner compass, to figure out exactly where you are right now.
It's a 12-question self-assessment, and it's super simple. For each of those key indicators we just talked about, you just rate yourself on a scale from 0 to 5. 0 is basically nope, never, and 5 is, yep, that's totally me, it feels natural. It's just a quick moment to be totally honest with yourself and see where you're at. And check this out. Here's how you make sense of your score. It gives you a really clear idea of where you are, from the research phase all the way up to complete stability. And look, this isn't about getting a good or bad grade. It's just about getting an honest snapshot. So just glancing at this, where do you think you might land? It's pretty interesting to think about.
But here's the absolute best part. It doesn't matter what your score is. Seriously, this isn't about judging yourself. It's about knowing where to start your work. And that first step, it all begins with training a skill the source calls somatic awareness. And this is something literally anyone can start doing, like today. The whole goal is just to get your mind and your body back on speaking terms. You can start with just 5 minutes of focusing on your breath. Or you can lie down and do a slow body scan, just noticing what you feel. Or try this. Before you make a decision, any decision, just pause for a second and ask, where do I feel this in my body? It's all about learning to listen to the wisdom you already have.
Now, these simple exercises are huge. They're foundational. But really, they're just the prep work. The source describes them as getting you ready for what comes next, which it calls crossing the gates. And this is such a brilliant way to picture it. A gate isn't a real thing, of course. It's a shift. It's that point where you cross over from a narrow, kind of boxed-in way of seeing things to something so much bigger, so much wider. It's a fundamental shift in how you experience reality.
So the source actually lays out 3 different kinds of these gates you can cross. There's the physical gate, which might feel like a sudden release of tension somewhere in your body. Then there's the emotional gate, which is often about finally letting go of some really old, stuck feeling. And then there's the luminous gate. I mean, this is where your very sense of self feels like it expands beyond your physical body.
So this whole path is laid out for us, from these really simple awareness exercises to, well, to a pretty profound transformation. And it just leaves us with this one big question to chew on. If you could really cross that threshold, what do you think you'd discover? Thanks for joining The Explainer.